One I've done is someone asking me to wash me try on underwear. And I tried on underwear for the person and the person paid me a lot of money for it. He wanted to be in the same room with me for me to try on different pairs of my underwear.
And he wouldn't take that underwear after?
No.
He just watched you trying it in front of you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I did that for half an hour or maybe close to an hour and I got paid for it.
Wow.
How much?
Close to 5,000.
What? 5,000.
5,000 pounds.
I've been on your Instagram. I've seen you in your
for
underwear.
30 minutes.
But this is real life.
And he didn't even take a video or nothing. He was just
No,
watching.
You're just watching.
Wow. All right, because I don't know you and I'm very curious to know more about you. Maybe just a little bit about where you're from. What's your story about coming to the UK?
Wait, should we start now?
Yeah.
Go for
He's
it.
waiting for someone to wave a flag.
No.
Like, action.
So where should I start? My name is Alex Gede, the one and only. I don't think you get anyone else if you search for Alex Gede. I'm from Nigeria. I moved to the UK to do my master's back in 2007,
Mhm.
and that was in Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
So my life has actually changed a lot from then. I've gone through a lot of stuff. After my uni, I was working in the bank for 5 years before I walked out. And then I started modeling.
Oh, wow. Go back to where you're from. When did you realize that you were gay?
Oh, I've always known.
Okay.
I've always known because
Came out of the womb waving a pride flag.
pretty much. I think I've always known because quickly I realized that I didn't have the same interest most of my fellow cousins or boys had for girls. I didn't have that interest. Like
Yeah.
I remember a lot of times people just treated girls differently and special or whatever, and I didn't understand why.
Mm-hmm.
So I always knew that when I look at a boy or a guy, I looked at them with a bit more interest than most other people look at them. So
You had a stirring in your loins.
Are you out to your family?
Well, we've not had that conversation, but yes, I'm out, very out. I just posted a very, very cringy video on YouTube, and that is how the whole world knew I was gay.
And that's how you came out to your parents as well. They watched your YouTube video.
Well, I'm sure, I don't know if they watched it or not, because I've never talked to my parents about it, but they do know. They never talked to me about it. But I'm sure they knew all my cousins and aunties and nephews. Everyone was on YouTube. And it was a big drama. You know, people were asking me to change my last name, that I'm no longer part of a family and stuff like that. So I'm sure my parents got the message.
So you posted your coming out story to YouTube. Why did you choose to go like that? Not in the route of
Quite explosive, isn't it?
and risky.
I don't know. I think it was a very difficult conversation maybe to have, and I didn't want to go about knocking doors, telling people. Also, I just met my ex at the time and we were madly in love. And that video was just to help me break all that, to just get me out there.
Like rip the band off.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
Because I didn't want to go about knocking doors and telling people, by the way, I'm gay, or by the way, I'm this and that. And I knew if I started posting stuff with my partner at that time, people are going to ask questions as well. And I didn't want to repeat that conversation every time with everybody.
And so you posted and then you woke up next day. What happened?
People were outside his house with pitchforks.
I think it was crazy. It was a crazy moment in my life because I went from having a very big family, but I went from having all of that to having none of it because literally everyone cut me off. And I spent the next day blocking people on social media.
I guess you came out to your children and your ex-wife before that?
Yes, I did. Yes.
Yeah? How did they take it?
The first person I ever came out to was my ex-wife. And initially it was difficult for her because we were still
Shocker, because you were married.
We were still married. Looking back then, I think we're more friends than anything. But anyway, one thing led to the other, and we got married.
Did you know that you were gay?
Well, yes, I did. But back then, my life was slightly different because I was taught that being gay was a sin, like a sinful desire that you need to keep away, almost like you desiring to smoke or you desiring to fornicate or whatever. So I've always thought that, I could keep it away. So I spent most of my life fighting and praying for that gay tendencies to go away. So yes, I knew I was attracted to guys, but I refused to accept that I was gay. I also believe that if I manage to get married and live the normal life that society wants me to live, then that gay tendencies will eventually disappear.
And were the waves of when you were overwhelmed with you fighting your sexuality? And were the years when you were in peace with that?
I think I only really got in peace with my sexuality and accepted my sexuality back in 2018, 2017. So not that long ago, actually. Because after I came out to my ex-wife, I told her, look, this is what it is. I've always been into guys. Obviously, because of our religion, it's something that I don't wish to act on. But obviously, I'm married and I choose to be married. So that is what it is. She understood that it's not a situation whereby she has turned me gay. Because I think I didn't realize that a lot of women, when their partner tells them that they are gay, the first thing that comes to their mind is, oh, was I that bad that I've turned him to the other side? You know what I mean? So she understood quickly that was not the case with her, that it has nothing to do with her or whatever she has done.
She didn't blame herself.
I think that helped for us to move past that. And actually, we did decide to stay married and just continue for the sake of our kids. And we did stay married for maybe a year or more.
So was it a big relief for you after you came out to your wife?
I actually don't think of it as a big relief at the time because it didn't really change anything. The only thing it did was after some time, made the marriage a bit awkward because at one point we didn't understand what we were to each other anymore. And I think that was a very difficult situation for both of us because at one point, because we still have kids, I was still expecting the whole husband and wife dynamics for the kids and all that. But in reality, it wasn't there anymore because we're at one point just there for the kids. A bit of arguing came on and all that kind of stuff.
When he was on Grindr and the guys were coming in.
No.
She took offense a little bit.
Alex,
No.
I know a few guys who were in straight relationships before, again, for the same reasons as you were. Once they told their wives and got separated, they went a little bit crazy on compensating. So how did that work with you?
I think it was exactly that with me.
Okay.
He was walking around Soho for 3 weeks in tiny little caravans.
Tell me.
With a rainbow flag.
Towards the end of our marriage, I started going to a gym. So I've gone from being underweight, skinny, with eating disorder, depressed, to this guy that has six-pack and had a nice body. And when I found out that there was an app called Grindr and all you had to do was to show your apps and everyone was queuing up. Yes, I did go crazy. But it was, I won't say it was overcompensating. I think it was a boot camp, an educational boot camp for me to catch up with everything I've missed. Because I was in my 30s and had little or no experience about proper sex life or sexuality. So I had to catch up. So
you were in your sexual exploration phase.
Yes,
That's
I
how
was
we call
an explorer.
Yeah.
Dora the Explorer with his backpack wandering around Soho.
No, I just have people queuing up outside. No, I'm joking.
We've all done it, don't worry.
Yeah. How then gay relationship are different from straight relationship from your experience?
I like to be in a relationship with someone that I'm also best friends with. And I think with gay relationships, it's very easier for you to be best friends and lovers. And that is usually how I date.
Does it involve being in open relationships?
No, I don't do open relationships.
Why?
I think I take myself to be a bit of a demisexual. For me, there must be a connection with the person I'm having sex with for me to be truly and fully satisfied. That doesn't mean that if I see someone attractive enough that drives me to want to have sex with the person, that doesn't mean I cannot.
Mm-hmm.
But no matter how gorgeous that person is, it's never going to be as fulfilling, as satisfying as with someone I'm connected emotionally with. I'll give you an example. Currently, I've been going on dates with this guy, and we've gone on maybe 7 dates over the last 2 months. That is a situation that works because we talk almost every day. We get to know each other. We know what makes each other laugh. The bond is a bit stronger than just one date.
And then when the bond is connected, then you feel like sexual part can come in full for you.
Sexual part can come anytime, but once the bond is connected, it takes the satisfaction level from here to there. Like if you have a grinder hookup, most times after the whole thing, you just want the person to leave because you're like, I don't want to see anymore. Bye.
And you feel empty as well, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But when it's with someone you feel connected with, after the sex, you don't want the person to leave. You want the person to stay, you cuddle, you still talk and you still hang out and even still stay the night.
Do you feel like in modern world, with all the apps and the gay culture of the big city, people are investing in this kind of connection?
No.
Exactly.
No one has time for, let's go on a few dates first before we can see what is under your underwear. No one cares for that anymore.
So how do you then navigate this?
I just keep myself busy because if I do anything without that connection, I know I'll feel empty and just shallow and dirty afterwards. So if I'm desperate, then yeah, sure, why not? Let's do it. But at the end of the day, most times I'll just keep to myself. And then when people see my social media, they think Alex is on Grindr every day and having someone every night. I wish. If I wanted, yes, it would happen, but I don't.
But we normally just go and hang out in the sauna for a few hours.
Yeah. That's how you guys met?
Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 4 hours in the sauna, and then we don't need anything for the week.
Do you know I've never been to a sauna before, like one of those gay saunas.
Why?
Again, coming from my demisexuality, like I just feel like, I don't want to go there on my own and then start being intimate with someone that I barely know.
Yep.
It's not my way of having fun.
So you will shut down or you won't enjoy the experience, right?
I won't enjoy the experience.
Yeah.
I will just shrink into my shell instead of embracing the moment.
Are you in a relationship right now?
Oh, I won't, no.
Just told you he's been texting this guy for 7 months.
It's 2 months. Well, this is 3rd month. We matched on Tinder and we've been going on very long dates and sleepovers and yeah.
Sleepovers.
Sleepover.
So sweet.
So sounds very romantic.
Yeah, and then we had a sleepover at his place, and the next morning we had breakfast in the balcony, and the sun was out. It's beautiful.
Nice.
And that is the kind of stuff I do. Like, I'm in real life, I'm very different from what my social media says, especially my Instagram.
But do you put yourself out there, as they say? Like, do you go to the bars? Like,
I don't like drinking
Mhm.
because I've never been drunk in my life. I think it comes from my Christian upbringing. But when I started trying it out, I didn't really enjoy it. So I didn't really go into it. So this year, I've made a choice to go clubbing at least once a month, just to be out there.
Yeah.
Usually, I don't go clubbing that much. I also do a lot of community stuff. Like I'm joining with like a gay gamers group, like GAYMERS gamers. So we play video games together and stuff like that. So I join little communities like that and do.
There is
stuff.
gay community that plays video games.
Yes.
I love London.
Can you imagine? It's every Wednesdays. And also there's another one that I went to a few times. It's called Gains. So GAYNS.
It's runners.
Yes.
How do you like it?
I don't like the running one too much. I have this, my training routine is very specific to how I want my body to look. So I don't like group exercises because it's too generic.
Yeah.
So I don't go to them anymore.
You know they're not going there to exercise, right?
Well, for me, I'm going there. What else are they going to
like to run with 500 people and you think you're going to get an exercise? Obviously, that's not the reason. Come on, Alex. What was the motive for you to go there? Be honest. Like, remember David Beckham said to Victoria, be honest.
Be honest. I am a very innocent child. I went there to just enjoy the company of sexy hot guys. I'll go there for socializing, but not like for me to go work out, because I have my own specific ways I train.
So how do you train?
Because I'm 6'3", and I have a very, very long legs. I train in a way that my shoulders and my chest is very broad, and then it gives me like a V shape, and then I train my legs as well.
How often do you train?
Oh, if I'm not busy every day, I will be at the gym.
Wow. I have this hypothesis, and please tell me like I'm wrong. I asked ChatGPT once, based on the race, and we have here white, Asian, black. Is there a difference in terms of how much effort you need to put in to gain muscles? It said, yes, there is a difference. For your body type, you're more naturally muscular, then it's you, and then for me. And I was like, I knew it. I had to work the hardest to get all the muscles.
Yeah.
Tell me, what do you think about this?
I think it's true. Everyone has different body types, but I think the main thing is if your diet is right and you cut out the fat, then the muscles will show faster. Even if you're skinny, you might still have a bit more fat over your muscle. So if your diet is right and you shed off that fat, then your muscle will show. So even if it's lean muscle, it's going to show faster once that fat is not there.
Yeah.
So diet will help a lot with doing that. Naturally, I am very skinny and my body fat percentage is always very low. So when I add that diet, it just makes it even 10 times faster for my muscles to show.
And just to show the abs, etc., right?
And then once you start training, because the fat's not there, the muscles will be showing faster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there any other traits? For example, right? Asians are always, how's called the word when people say that if you're Asian, it means that you're good at math, right? So on positives, on benefits, right? So black means that muscly guy, right? Big everywhere.
Are you talking about, is this where you put the eggplant emojis?
Exactly.
Well, your underwear brand, for example, you have one which is for big boys.
Well endowed boys.
Is that the whole idea of the brand?
No.
Alex, I'm very curious about, because I was in banking as well before. I think you have very similar stories. So after banking, what happened next?
So after I left uni, because I did accounting and finance up to my master's degree, and I started working in the bank, and I hated it. Like, it was all about sales, about targets. So I started going to a gym, because one day I walked into a bank without my layers of suit. And from the other end of the banking hall, one of my colleagues turned around and was like, Alex, I didn't know you were that skinny. And the whole crowd just stopped and turned and looked at me. And that day I was like, I'm going to start going to a gym.
Okay.
So I started working out in my house, buying all the equipment, because I was too shy to go to a gym, because I was very, very skinny. I was like weighing 63 kg and I was like 6'3". I was literally just bones. I started putting on weight heavily, and then I started posting on social media, and then Men's Health, someone from Men's Health saw it, and then did an article about my transformation and all that. And boom, I just started exploding and started getting modeling jobs. And I'm like, okay, this is where I wanted to be in my entire life. So I resigned from my banking job and started modeling. And I then met someone back then that was like, I have these fancy bottles that is like gym bottles that you have to push a button for your protein powder to get into your drink. You don't need to take 3 different bottles. I had a bit of money and I just poured all my money into this business and ended up with more than 5,000 bottles in my house. It wasn't selling. You know, I spent 5,000 pounds building my website, paying a company to do it, and my bottles were not selling.
So you bought out in wholesale those bottles, and you wanted to sell them as your own brand.
Yes, that's the first business I started.
Yeah.
So it was the bottles. The reason why I bought the bottles is because they had to be personalized to me.
Yeah.
To my brand. So I bought these bottles and started my first fitness brand, trying to start something new because I just left the bank and they were not selling. And I was so depressed because my living room was full with bottles. You could not even see
you were
TV.
just living in a house with bottles.
Literally, you could not see the TV.
Okay.
You know, and one day I decided, you know what, for me to move on to this, I have to close this business down. I actually then went into the banking, but like a consultant. So then it was even worse because I went from working with one bank to working with all the bank in the UK. So they call it all of market. But I had to get rid of my bottles. So I was sneaking them into like recycle bins, taking them to like charity shops and keeping them outside charity shops. You know, I was just doing everything to get rid of them.
I just having a vision of you sneaking around London at night with a bag, posting them into different charity shops.
Because I put them on eBay to try and sell for something and they were not selling. And at one point I was like, you know what? I don't care anymore. I'm just going to get rid of these bottles. Because
was it a relief?
Once I started seeing my TV again, it was a relief.
What did you learn from doing the bottle business?
That if you want to go into a business, you need to be able to do almost 90% of the stuff yourself, especially if you don't have like thousands of hundreds of pounds to invest. Because when I started Club 7, I designed the website myself. I designed all the product myself. All the social media, everything I do myself.
So tell us, what was the transition from bottles to Club 7?
So from bottles, I went on to a different business actually, which was called A Grade, which is like gym wear. I started it with a straight guy. And that was doing really well. We're selling like vests, hoodies and stuff like that. And again, that website I built myself. We did everything ourselves. When I came out, we had a very big fight. He was angry that I didn't tell him I was gay. And yes, so we closed down that business.
Your friend that you worked with was straight. He didn't know that you were gay. And when you came out, it was an issue for him. Okay.
It was an issue for him.
Why did you approach him?
I approached him because he was doing calisthenics. So he was doing like muscle ups, handstands, and the flag and all that stuff, and which was stuff I was doing as well, which was quite cool. So that is how we started training. We're friends and we trained together. And from there, we started this A-grade business. And then later on, because I came out when I met my ex, later on, he was like, I feel like you don't care too much about the brand or me anymore. So we had to close down that business. And then I think 2 years later, I started Club 7.
What inspired you?
So with Club 7, because I was like into fitness and posting a lot of underwear stuff on social media, I started getting a lot of brands to send me stuff. They used to send me a lot of boxes and they pay me £300 to £500 for me to unbox them on my YouTube. So I was doing underwear try-ons, underwear reviews for, you name them, Modus Vivendi, all the brands. They would send me stuff constantly. And I then realized quickly that most brands focus on either the comfort of the product or the sex appeal.
Yeah.
So the ones that are sexy and hot and you want to wear it on special occasions and all that, you can't wear them for very long.
Mm-hmm.
Very uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And then the ones that were comfortable that you love to wear all day, it's not something you really want to wear when you want to go on a date and want to take off your clothes and show off your underwear. You know what I mean?
Is that what you're doing on dates?
No,
Taking off showing off your underwear. Oh,
Well,
after 2 months,
after
after the 7th date. Okay.
So that is why I was like, you know what? I'm going to start a brand that is both comfortable and sexy. And that is how Club 7 came about. And also I had the YouTube audience that love what I do with underwear. So I had the audience already to show my work. So that is how Club 7 was born. I describe it as comfortably sexy underwear.
So what does Club 7 mean?
So it's Underwear Lovers Club. So instead of I didn't want to use like my name as the brand because I don't want to, you know, like if you go on a date and so on, you take off your underwear as your name on the underwear. Too much.
Well, there are brands like that. Dirk Bickenbergs.
Well, Andrew Christian and all that. Yeah, I know. But for me, I just, especially like maybe when you're like a big brand, yes, but as a small brand, it's a bit too, I don't know.
It's a bit,
Yeah.
So the 7 is my lucky number. So instead of Alex Gede Underwear Club, is Club 7.
I see. I just thought, to be honest with you, that 7 was the size of the penis.
A lot of people think that.
Huh?
So you have one in your range called
It's called Legacy.
Legacy.
Yes.
So when we've spoke about it before, you're like, oh, it's for the big boys.
Yes.
So that's what he told me that. And then I was like, what does Club 7 mean? I said, okay, maybe 7 is the, I know, average penis size or people, I don't know.
When I started the brand, I was with my ex at the time and I'm well endowed. So obviously I'm over the average. And my ex at the time, he had like really big balls. So we struggled to find underwear that gives comfort around that area.
Okay.
So I then designed this collection called Legacy.
Okay.
Because the pouch is designed in a way that is quite flexible. So if you have big balls or if you have big dick, like it will just mold according to your size.
Yeah.
So, and it became very popular on social media, especially on Twitter, because all the OnlyFans creators were wearing them, and because when they get excited and it grows, it just really
Extends out like an elephant's trunk.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. Now I want to see that.
Well, go on to his Instagram. You can see it. That's how we became friends.
Oh, unfortunately, I'm not like that extremely endowed, so I don't think I can relate. But
that is the good thing about a collection. But because of how we cut it and the way the pouch is designed, if you're endowed, it just goes. It just flows with it. And I think that is one of my greatest achievements.
Wow. I didn't know those were still greatest achievements.
Greatest achievement.
It's like
he got underwear that he could squeeze his penis into.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you're not endowed, you can still wear it and be very comfortable with it. But if you're endowed, it just extends.
You know, it just reminded me of that Australian underwear brand. What is it called?
Oh, Aussie Bum.
Aussie Bum. They have this like a pocket. So when you put your balls and penis inside, it gives that bulge feeling. It was fun, kind of. You felt like something different.
I mean, I'm fairly well endowed. I don't need to wear it.
Well, you both don't have to, brag about all of it. But
no, I know those pouch ones as well. Yeah, they're all right.
They're uncomfortable.
I've tried them. You remember I used to do on the web unboxing.
Yeah.
I've tried all of them. There's another brand that is even specialized with them that is called Separate Tech. And they also have like a pouch. Most of the times, they just feel like, when you get like a technology, like a phone, and there's like some fancy features you never get to use.
Yeah.
That's what they just feel like to me. Gimmicks. That's how I see them.
So I'm now very curious, what are the insights that you've learned?
Well, one thing, people always tend to buy a size smaller than they are. Because they always feel like, oh, actually, no, I'm a medium. No, you're a large. Take the measurement, you're a large. Accept it. And that's why I brought large for you.
There's a part you don't know. While we were setting up, where's our gifts, Alex? This is awful. This is like the most insulting thing ever. There's that, I brought you a gift for you.
Yeah.
I brought you large, Oliver. Because I remember you used to wear that. How do you remember I used to wear that? Never wore large. Basically. And he was like, an Azamat probably is just a medium or something. But you didn't get from the legacy collection. I did. So I'm fine.
all
So
right.
this is the new collection that just came out. Do you want the large then?
No, I want the medium. I'm a medium.
I'm fine with large.
Stop giving me large.
I am gaining face at the gym, and my ass became like J-Lo's in the last 3 months, and I loved it. I never had that big ass in my life.
Nice.
I love the packaging.
Super soft.
So the packaging is paper because you can just put in the recycle.
Yeah.
Right, a logo on it.
Oh, I love
Nice,
how
mate.
soft it is.
So,
Thank you, Alex.
thank you so much.
Yes. So, and another thing is, initially I thought all the gays wear jock straps.
Yeah.
But no, they don't. Actually, they prefer thongs to jock straps.
Really?
Yeah. And
Show us.
Yeah.
I'm being decent to it. Today I'm wearing a nice what am I wearing today actually? Oh, I'm wearing the one of these actually.
Have you
This
seen
was
his
on the
abs?
magazine.
What?
Have you seen his abs?
I follow
There's
him on
no fat.
Instagram.
Oh my god. Wow.
I'm always on a diet.
Wow. So coming back to thongs and jock straps, I understand why, because you usually have one or two when you are having maybe
When you're going
fun.
on a date.
Exactly.
Yes.
After 2
Why
months of
would you
dating.
wear them on a date? It's the worst. So unless you're planning on going home with them, but you're on a date, you're probably going to have food. I'm tired.
But when would you wear jockstrap? It's when you want to get into sexual mood,
Yeah.
right? And you get sexual mood when you are having sex with your partner,
Yeah.
or you are waiting for a grinder date to arrive. So that puts you into
Or
the
you're
mood.
hoping for something to happen and you want easy access.
Access. All right, he's a
Did you
bottom.
And the third type of underwear you said is
Thongs.
thongs.
So a lot of people now wear thongs. I love thongs actually. It's really nice what it does to your back view. And I spent almost 1 year designing mine because I bought a thong from a very big brand and the pouch was so small. And
Oh,
then
poor you.
Walking around with his elephant trunk penis.
Yeah,
It's so small.
It didn't fit into a thong.
So it wasn't
It
even
didn't-
like in it. It was just like a shoelace around his
It was-
penis.
and everything was just pouring out from the side as well.
Oh, God.
Anyway, so it took me a year to design it because I really wanted to really just capture everything. But yeah, a lot of people wear thongs nowadays compared to jock straps. And I thought it was going to be the other way around.
Mm-hmm. I haven't worn thongs until I tried last year once. It was just because I thought it would feminize me. But I guess once you are in peace with yourself in terms of feminine side, blah, blah, you don't really care. And then you try it, you're like, oh, actually, it is fun.
Yeah,
You do
it's-
feel different. It's like elevates you a little bit.
I think underwear is one thing that boosts confidence a lot. And most people do not know this.
Okay.
Because when you're wearing a good pair of underwear and you're feeling yourself, it just transcends into everything else for that day for you. For me, most times I wear underwear depends on how I want to feel that day. If I want to feel more playful, if I want to feel more silly or naughty or whatever. Like I wear thongs and people are like, why are you wearing thongs and showing off the ass? I'm like, so I still feel good wearing it.
Or it sounds like he's just walking around central London in
Yeah.
a thong. People are coming up to him. Why are you wearing this?
I post a lot of pictures of me wearing my thongs on my Twitter.
So is it just me, or when you open fresh pair of underwear, it's always exciting to try them?
It's always very exciting for me to try. And that is the best thing to do. And spoilers, I've releasing a swimwear this month, and we're spraying a daisy perfume inside the package because it's like swimwear. So when you open it, it's like summer. It's like a smell of summer as well.
I just realized you're absolutely right. Underwear business is emotions business because you are excited. It's like buying a new toy for adults, right? You're like, oh, I'll feel sexy in it, or I'll look good at gym.
I think status comes into it a lot as well.
Yeah, and then a lot,
especially in the gay community.
Yeah, and a lot of people buy underwear. Also, it makes them feel something that maybe they will not feel if they just wear some basic stuff on
Well, I
the...
expect when I put yours on, I'm going to look like you, Alex. I want my abs to pop, my buttocks to pop.
Speaking of which, I'm sure people ask you whether they can buy worn underwear of yours.
Yes, a lot. I get one of the craziest requests ever.
Let's use the language that we can use for
Let's see, okay.
Instagram.
So someone asked to get my underwear, and I was like, okay, sure, whatever. And then they wanted me to wear it for the whole week at the gym.
Yep.
I'm like, okay. I change my underwear every day and sometimes twice a day if I'm very active. But okay, what next? They wanted me to also have a lot of man juice all over it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, why?
Mm-hmm.
And they were offering to pay like 100 or 200 pounds per pair. And I was like, no.
Not for 200, but he did it for 4.
Usually when people buy used underwear, I think most times they wear it because they want it to be really, really disgusting. They want to be able to see that it's dirty, it's smelly.
They want their 7 days worth of your body stench.
Yes.
I see. I thought that my brain is not that dirty. I thought that it's more like you want a piece of someone, and that piece is not only in terms of OnlyFans could be a piece visual, right? But it's more like I want to smell that person, and it could be armpit smell. It can be sexy if it's a fresh smell.
Oh, but it's going to be 7 days build up. So
yeah,
you do
now
want the smell, but you want the intensity.
They want to sniff it.
Okay, got it.
And they want to have a lot of it.
Okay.
What other crazy requests and things like that do you get for having a brand? And I know your brand doesn't just cater for gay men, but what other crazy requests do you get coming through?
Well, one of the most common one is people saying, "Oh, can I come to your house to try on the underwear first before I buy?" And I was like, even some of my
wink, wink,
yeah, even some people that I kind of follow on social media that I kind of see as acquaintance, like,
it's crazy.
I have a warehouse, so no, you can't. So that is the most common one. The craziest request I've got wasn't actually regarding my underwear, but someone wanted to pay me 5K to turn me to a sub.
Turn you into
turn you into what?
A sub.
Submissive.
A sub.
Submissive.
Okay.
Like they wanted.
What did you do with the 5,000?
How did you spend it?
I said no.
I said no until she put 10,000.
I said no. But the one I've done is someone asking me to watch me try on underwear, and I tried on underwear for the person, and the person paid me a lot of money for it. He wanted to be in the same room with me for me to try on different pairs of my underwear.
And he wouldn't take that underwear after?
No.
He just watched you trying it in front of you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I did that for half an hour or maybe close to an hour, and I got paid for it.
Can we ask how much?
Close to 5,000.
What? 5,000?
5,000 pounds.
I've been on your Instagram. I've seen you in your
underwear. 30 minutes.
But this is real life.
Oh.
And he didn't even take a video or nothing. He was just watching.
You were just watching.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, okay. But that was one of the best offers, especially because it wasn't like creepy or touchy or whatever. He was obsessed with my back for some reason. It was nice.
You've got a nice back.
Is it the maximum, or there are other stories?
I think that's the maximum.
Yeah.
That is the maximum.
Yeah.
Other stuff that they want to pay that much, they always ask for so much, and I'm like,
yeah,
I'm a model. I just stand around looking good and get paid. That is what I like to do. So if you want to do anything more than that, then you have to really offer.
Of course.
But, yeah.
Speaking of social media, do you get dick pics a lot?
I used to, but not anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. I don't know why they stopped. Maybe because I don't reply to them, because there's always like the requests and they are there.
Yeah.
But I don't get them anymore. But anytime I open the yellow pages, that is where I usually get them.
What is yellow pages?
Grinder.
Oh, right. Okay.
Ah.
I was thinking like the yellow pages. I said, so the
Yeah,
your phone book was the yellow pages.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. I call Grinder the yellow pages.
Very good.
I'm extremely curious. Do Black gay community have different apps, different venues where you guys go? Tell me a bit more about it, because why I'm coming up with this question is just on my grid, right? On my yellow pages on Grindr, I don't see much representation of, for example, Indians. I don't see much representation of Asian people. I see it's mostly white. Yeah. So I was wondering whether maybe communities have different apps where it's more popular.
I don't think it's more about different apps they go to. There are some different apps that maybe they might tend to go to, but I don't think there's like any particular one. I think my theory as a single Black man in London looking for love, my theory is that when it comes to the minorities, that a lot of us are still very DL, very discreet, very private. And a lot of people say to me that, oh, Alex, why don't you date Black people? And I was like, because one, they are not on those apps. I don't meet them. Because like if I meet any Black person on a night out, once they see my social media, they stop talking to me because they don't want to be seen. Because most of them, although they are in London and in real life, they go to places, events, but they don't want their forefathers in other part of the world to see what they are up to. So they will never put themselves out there on social media.
I see. So they're so close to it that they would be a bit embarrassed, ashamed to be
And
out.
they are very, even if they are within themselves, I know friends that within themselves, they are comfortable with their sexuality, but you can never tell they are gay on their social media or anywhere. And on Grindr, their profile, there's no profile picture or nothing. But they are out there, living their best lives.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't want any digital footprint to be out there because they are very scared which of their uncles that they've not told that might see something.
Yeah.
And I think that is why if you open any app, you see very less minorities because they are still very scared as to who is going to see me.
I see. Okay.
And that is why I've been struggling to date anyone from the minority because I'm all out there, like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, everywhere.
OnlyFans.
You know what I mean? So even if I meet someone at a night out and we like when we go clubbing, I meet someone and we dance and we add a vibe and we exchange social media. Once they see my social media, they stop speaking to me.
Wow.
I think that could be you are very attractive. And there's like the whole body thing to compete with. That could be like a bit.
Well, yeah,
like...
someone told me once that, I just felt like I was not on your league or something like that.
Yeah, out of his league.
Out of his league.
Which was true, but...
Well, I don't think anyone is out of anyone's league. Because
I do. I have a guy with like abs like you. I would just be like, I'm not even going to reply. 100%. I'm like, oh, no, we're like just too different.
Well, I've messaged a few people before and they're like, why are you messaging me? Like, I'm like, for me, if I find you attractive and if you find me attractive, then that is it. But if you find me attractive so much that I feel like I'm out of your league, then you're missing out.
So,
it's your loss.
For example, if I come across someone like you on social media, right, and I see how attractive you are, and maybe I looked at your Twitter, and I would be very interested to meet you, right? But I would be kind of ashamed to DM you because probably you will ignore me, or probably you will look at my Instagram and I'm not at par. So I think, for example, from my perspective, I see it as like I'm scared. Like, what do you feel like from your side? How do you see that?
Well, if I see someone I like, I DM the person.
You do DM?
If I see someone I like, even if the person has 10 followers or the person has 1 million followers, if I see someone I like, I usually DM. I see everyone as individuals.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if you're single, you still go and have dinner on your own at night, wishing there was someone sharing your dinner with you. No matter how much money you have, no matter how much followers you have, I think at the core, we are still just individuals.
Yeah.
So I've DM'd a lot of people that have big following, and some of them have responded, some of them have not. And I've DM'd some people that have very little following, and they are like, is this a catfish? Why are you DMing me?
Mm.
You know what I mean? But for me, I don't care. If I fancy you or if I find you attractive, I don't care what your status is.
So it's interesting. This is something I discussed about in therapy. And my therapist put it like this. Abs is something you have worked hard to obtain.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is having a good job. So is having your own business, being parents, and so on. And they all have a high value, and everybody has something that is a high value about them.
Mm-hmm.
But because abs are something, for example, if you can see it on your Instagram, and it's something people aspire to, most people will push down their own values, even if it's higher and you've had to work harder than getting abs. Most people automatically push them down as to being less valuable.
Mm-hmm. That's why we are scared.
Yeah.
To approach.
Yeah, because we put down the value of what we've achieved. Yeah, because we are found something in that person that we admire.
That and the size of his thing. I mean, that would scare me off as well.
Also, like with the person I've been going on date with, he works as a design engineer for a nice design fancy company. And to me, I'm like, wow, you're doing great. You have a very nice fancy job and you're in the corporate world. I can't stay in the corporate world.
Yeah.
I look at people that work in the corporate industry.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, you must be mentally strong to be
Yeah.
doing that. And he's like, really? Like, I don't, so depends on what you see as value. And most times what you don't have and what you can't achieve is what you see as of most value.
I think that it's just your assets, right? You can very visual and they are Instagrammable and you can see that straight away. Whereas, for example, the value of the person who has achieved a lot, you can't show it on Instagram straight away. You need to know the person, you need to meet the person.
Yes.
Then, so I guess that's where a little bit disconnection is in terms of seeing each other equal when it comes to online, right? That's why.
You show a lot. Like you've got your successful business, and you're that, and you're a great parent from what I've seen from your socials and so on. So you have all your things on show. Whereas other people who maybe don't put them on show, I guess it's easy to push those down.
Yeah.
Few questions, if you don't mind, about being gay parents.
Yeah.
Can you share about your journey?
I think being a gay parent I think my kids are the best kids in the world. Like there's a YouTube video I did once where we're cooking and I told my kids back then that, do you know, a lot of people don't like me and most of my family don't speak to me anymore because I'm gay. And my kids they just went crazy. They were so angry. And they just said things that till today is like, it's just very important to me. And when I came out, everyone in my family stopped speaking to me. All my childhood friends, everyone. The only people I had back then was my ex, my 2 kids, and my partner at the time. And my kids, they are the most supporting people on the planet. They are like my biggest fans.
So how did you come out to them? How old were they?
I think back then, my boy must have been about maybe 6 years. So I think I came out about almost 7, 8 years ago now. He was quite young. My first child, they were again quite young. I think maybe 7 or 8 back then. And I told my ex that, okay, it's time for us to tell them because I have a boyfriend now and he is going to be moving in. When they come here to stay 3 days a week, they're going to see him around. So we have to have that proper conversation with them. And we sat them down and we had a conversation with them and didn't feel like it mattered to them at all. They're like, don't care.
Are they proud of having a gay dad?
Yes, they are very proud and they make jokes about it all the time.
So tell us, what do you mean?
Where should I start? Like sometimes if they're having issues at school and about someone they fancy and all that, if their mom wants to say something like, oh, mom, you don't give dating advice. You got married to a gay man. Come on.
Very good.
When our daughter is at school, she would tell everyone with pride, oh, I have 2 dads. Like she is honored
Yeah.
and she's different in a positive way. So she kind of is very happy about it, and she'll tell everyone that she has papa and daddy.
My kids tell everyone about their dad because they always feel like their dad can do everything. Like their dad is like the person that can do social media, can do that and on the red business. Yes, they talk about everything and they tell me about everything as well, because your family would always love you.
Yeah.
So don't put yourself in any box to fit anything for anyone to accept you. Just be yourself.
Love that.
Alex, it was amazing.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much for coming on. We really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
That was
Thanks for having
Loved
me.
hearing your story.